Hi Said, good evening. My name is and currently I'm working as an application development analyst in 2.5 years of experience in Tosca automation domain. So in this journey, I have worked on a couple of projects like S4HANA implementation project, SAP SCC functional testing project, SAP automation testing project, web application testing projects, and data integrity data testing projects as well. So in this journey, I worked as a team member in few of the projects. I lead the team of 3 to 4 folks, where I was reviewing their test cases on day-to-day basis and sharing the inputs whenever required. So we have created the multiple regression suites for our US and UK based clients in multiple projects. Coming to the certification part, I have the certification in both SAP and Tosca domain. So I have AS1, AS2, TDS1, TDS2 data integrity certification, SAP automation specialist through Tricentis. And coming to the SAP part, I have the SAP S4HANA implementation certification from the Udemy. So this is like overall my experience in the automation background. I would like to share my expertise in this call with you, Asit. Thanks.
Okay. Uh, okay. Since you have done your complete, did you get a chance to working with SAP products? Uh, what is the major challenge that you face while automation?
So I have automated SAP S4 HANA and the SAP ACC. If you are aware, like that is HANA is generally the web-based application and having the critical like code behind the like whatever the front end they have the having the complex the Tosca is the basically module based automation tool. So while scanning ECC is quite simpler than the HANA part, where you are find challenges when some elements are not making unique quite easily. So you have to find any specific properties to make them that elements unique. You have to use certain like different properties and other methods which is present in the Tosca.
So
So using that,
okay, okay. So
you can.
okay, so on that part, I want to ask you one question. Then, what was so can you give me an example wherein like you face that okay, this is the point wherein like
Okay.
this is an element that is giving a challenge to me while automation, and you handled it in a way that that issue got
Okay,
yeah,
understood.
cleared out. Yeah.
So we will take an example of HANA only, like when we generally scan like the HANA web pages that is coming in uh, the suppose when we try to scan HANA, so the elements which just take example like XYZ elements I want to scan. So that particular elements having the some properties which is quite similar to other elements. So if you scan that particular if the elements having the same properties with the another elements, so that we cannot navigate correctly when you are automating the script. So I use the anchor method to make them unique. If another if you take another example, if using anchor also, if it's that elements is not making unique, then I go for the index properties. And if index is also not possible, then the last the recommend this is method is not recommended by Tricentis, but generally if there is no other option, then we can scan the web page as an image, and using the image we can navigate to that particular elements. So that is the approaches we generally follow in Tosca while automation side.
Okay, so can you explain me what is the process of testing actually? Means how a testing life cycle happens. Whether it can be it's a not SAP specific, but can be any product.
Okay.
So what
So
process do you follow?
it
Yes.
will start, yeah, it will start with the test case like requirement gathering. What is the requirement of the client? What needs to get tested? So it will start with that. After that, it will go to the testing planning. What will be the key features they want to test? What will the expectations? So the planning will be the secondary part. It will come to like test development, the third part, where the automation test engineer will develop the test cases, whatever the basic needs, what as per the client requirement, all the checks needs to be get automated. After automation, the environment setup will be there, so where we can generally use the QA environments, the setups and all things that will be there. After the environments get set up, the execution part will be there. Whatever the automation test cases is there, we have to run that in the test environment. After that, the closure, if any defect, then that will be goes in the defect cycle, like, and the last will be the closure of the uh, testing cycle.
So when you say that, so when you say requirement gathering, so
Mm-hmm.
so at what phase do you say that requirement is enough to start? So you got a requirement document, you got a bid. Now you want to start testing on it. So what actually you plan in that things? When you say that now this module line need to be tested, so what are your um, uh, from the requirement point of view, what documents are you expecting?
So I will expect like functional documents where the basic information is there. Like suppose if you take any example, any web application example where like they want to validate some messages which coming in the screen. So where exactly the messages is coming, when they are expecting that message is coming, the functional knowledge, the functional KT that should be get shared with the automation engineer before starting any automation. So that one document is required, functional document we generally say. After that, the test data is required to start automation, to generate that particular error or the success message. So that type of things we required before start automation.
Okay, but okay. What and during the since you are handling 2 or 3 members of your team, so how do you
Mhm.
plan between the resources? How do you plan them? The how do you test plan them? Means how you plan accordingly according to the testing, the module and the resources as well in this case.
So generally, in the project which I work as a team lead for them, like we have the regression suite creation requirement from the UK clients, where they have the specific SCP flows which is documented by the functional team. So we generally there was the requirement like the test case level. We generally have the target on a daily basis. So this like suppose 10 or 20 test cases on a daily basis we have to automate. Suppose any functional any automation
No,
engineers
no,
having
that
the background of.
okay, okay, no, just
Mhm.
a minute. So automation will be a secondary part. I am asking about the test plan. So how you prepare that means what what all activities do you perform in a test plan perspective? That I am asking right now.
Okay, the test planning you are asking.
Yes.
So generally, how many test cases are how many test cases are there? What is the deadline? When how much we can target for a daily basis, and uh, that things we did. I did in the test planning
But
side.
you don't know how many test cases will be there in the first case, right? So how will you plan those number of test cases to the resources?
Okay, in our project, what happened like the functional team already documented the test cases. We have the ready test cases where the ask was like they have around 1,500 test cases, and they wanted automation for that particular test cases. So as per your question, like if you want to like script anything functional, want to script first and then automation, then in that case I haven't such haven't did in my past experience honestly.
Okay, so okay, so while test development and while in the execution phase, so how is
Mhm.
your role when you say that now the testing as so do you perform the manual test as well or it just automation?
So while development of automation test case, we generally run in a scratch book where whatever the developed flow is giving a correct output or not. If it is giving a correct output, then we can mark. Then we are going to execute as a dry run in our execution list. So if that is also passing without any issues, then we are considering that as a development is completed.
No, no, no. What I'm
So
asking is from a testing point of view. So,
mhm.
is it the manual test as well you are executing, or it is just for the automation? So do you have both the areas of requirement, so that you need to first manual test and then automate?
In
Uh,
few of the projects, I did the manual checks as well. After that manual checks, I did the automation, and few of the projects I only handled the automation part. So
okay.
already there is the script documented.
Okay, so as a supposingly you need to do manual and as well as the automation. So when do you consider that the build is received to you and you should be starting the testing on it?
Okay, so as per our like project, like I understand, like the when the as majorly I worked on the SAP project, so I am aware of the SAP how exactly it's work. So in the SAP, what happened, like suppose any functional consultant like there is a requirement, first get to the functional consultant, that the ABAP developer will write a code for that. After that, ABAP code hand over that code to the functional consultant only, and after that functional consultant do the manual checks if it is working as per the client requirement, then it will come to the QA. So after like we got a confirmation, like whatever the required code is there in the QA environment, and the functional KT and the functional document is shared with the automation engineer, then we are good to go start our automation flows and the scripting part. So that is what there this is the flow actually we are generally following in the SAP automation.
Okay. And okay, so you get a ready-made thing, so that's fine. But okay, you should be thinking of this perspective as well. When supposingly as a QA perspective, you should always be looking into those areas as well. But that's fine. And when from a automation point of view, when you decide that the test case can be automated or not.
So we generally, I have done a few POCs for the project, Tosca automation projects. So in that, like when the application is stable, it's not changing frequently, and it's can when we generally do the POC, like kinds of checks we generally do, like it is feasible for the automation, while what is the performing, how the performance and the tool which we are using the automation, the synchronization between that two, is it feasible to automate, and also the whatever as per the Tosca, like the scanning is how we can able to scan, we are able to make that elements unique. That thing we generally checks, and if that is everything is working fine and as expected, so then we consider that is flexible for feasible for the automation.
So, but
Like
then,
we have.
you need,
Mhm.
means in that case you first go through the test case, each and every test case, and then decide it. And while doing the automation, you first check if that is automatable, and then you start the automation, right? So you haven't defined any areas with respect to it, that in looking into the experience of the project, or means from the experience of what how the application is. So okay, so that's part of the analysis actually, that should be actually taken up front. Okay. From a Tosca framework point of view, what type of errors is available, means what different type of errors do you get?
So in Tosca, there are like verification failures is there user when there is no like expected things which we wanted. Then in that case, we get a verification failure. The user abort is the second error that is present in the Tosca. When generally user cancelled any action, then we got that error. So and also the synchronization error is there when the system performance, whatever the application you are performing, if that is not responding, then in that case you will get the synchronization error as well. um, yeah, this is the kind of errors there in the Tosca.
Okay. uh, and what okay, and Miss, why have you performed the API testing as well in Tosca?
No, I don't have the expertise on API yet.
Okay. So, looking into, so have you ever got means tried to, so in Tosca, what are you using for the identification of elements? So, means have you worked on Selenium before? Or
No, no.
okay, okay, okay. And what can be the so how do you from the data point of view, so what data how do you provide the data to your framework, Tosca framework, and how do you iterate over it? Means
So we have the test data management like TC. We have like TDS and TCD approach and also buffer methods. So TCD generally like where the Excel sheet type of things is there. So we can map our data which is required, and we are going to link that TCD to our test cases. And when we call that Excel reference, then the automatically at the runtime the data will be fetched from the TCD. This will be the one approach. Second approach will be the when you have the test data management tool, where you are going to, for each test case level, what is the required data, you are going to store that in the TDM, and from there you are going to call that at the runtime. So that will be the second approach. Third approach will be you are going to manually set in the test case level only in the precondition whatever the test data required, then in the form of buffers you are going to store, and you are going to call that buffer at a runtime. So that is the three methods present for the data part in the Tosca.
okay, so do you raise bugs as well?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so 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 when you are but since you have a functional tester already, that has already tested the things, but still you find the bugs. So how you have so how do you manage those bugs from the QA point of view? Can you explain me those areas of your
Suppose
discussion
I
of
will
the
just take a.
process? Yeah,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah, I understood your question. So I will just take. Currently, I'm doing a product testing for a SAP and a Salesforce, where what the manual testing is parallelly going on with the automation. But this is the data testing project where the SAP data is going to the Salesforce application, and before transporting through LM application, they want to validate the data which is generated through the SAP, that should be a correct before sending to the Salesforce. So manually when the person checks, they randomly check one to two data, but that is a data in a thousands and lakhs in the text file. So while automation we are going through which row, right? So in the if you consider, if manual checks randomly, you are going to pick five data and you are going to test. But while when our script runs, it will check each and every word of your text file, and the data, like whatever the logics that is scripted by the web developer, we are replicating that in our script. So that is also second checks we are doing. The program logic should be working fine, and the data which is getting populated by a web code, that is also needs to get checked. So manually that cannot be done very efficiently. So when the script runs, it will finding major bugs that should not be able to catch while the manual checks. So when we found any bugs, we raise to the functional consultants only.
Okay, so in Tosca, what language do you use for writing your automation code?
Tosca is the scriptless tool only. We generally scan the web pages and the applications which we want to automate. So
So,
no.
okay, so you don't have any customization with respect to that, wherein you can write a
Uh,
code for yourself?
so very rarely Tosca enables to identify any elements. It is very rare case, and in that case, we have to write a code in the C hash
Mm-hmm.
to make that elements unique. But that is very rare case. In few projects only that can happen. But in whatever the project I have worked, and I haven't faced any such scenario in our project. So
Okay, so you didn't write those customized code.
Yes,
for
yes, yeah,
yourself.
correct.
Okay, okay. Yeah, in any framework, whether it is a composed one or means it's a free tool, we there is some point wherein like customization we do require. Okay, so
Yes,
that's
yes.
fine. Okay. Uh, So, while raising a bug, how do you prioritize your bug, and how do you say that which bug has a priority accordingly, and how much severe that bug is, and how you deal with the triage process with it, and how you get the bug
Mm,
fixed from your point of view?
mhm. So generally we log the block in the Jira. So severity, if it is blocking, it is like a major issues with the functionality. We are getting a huge like mismatch or whatever the like functionality wise it is something different and the code is behaving something different then and it is impacting multiple cases throughout the projects, then we are going to raise as the high severity bug. When the bug the functionality wise it is performing quite similar but there is some changes that is not meeting with the requirement, so that will be the medium, and the third will be like low severity which is kind of bug but that is not impacting any things, so but that needs to get fixed as a overall quality of the product, so that will be the low. And what was the second question you asked after the severity?
The
The
priority,
defect cycle.
yeah, the priority and
uh,
the severity accordingly, how you decide those? And what should be the priority and what should be the and how severe the bug is? Yeah.
okay. No, no. Generally, this we generally log that these things into Jira only, and other parts was taken care by the functional side. So, not sure about the severity parts.
Okay. Okay. So from the means while working with the number of I think so in SAP we say there are objects delivered, right, to
Mhm.
um, for the each module perspective. So when you were handling multiple, as you said that there are multiple rows and multiple data searches, and you identify few random data and to check with that. So what
Mhm.
actually do you use to search on those part? What so you might be doing some query, right, to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we are writing a SQL queries in the Tosca data integrity part as a part of data integrity,
Mm-hmm.
where like we don't have the database access currently in our project, so we are fetching different type of excels from the SAP
Okay.
and we are merging that into a single like caching DB, and we are calling the data from that database which we created through the SQL queries as per the ABAP logic. So we are writing the query in a such a way there the our database and the ABAPers database should match, so
Okay.
that things
So
we are.
can you, yeah,
Yeah.
so can you write, can you share the your notepad and write a simple query that how you um, data source your means how you access your code from your Tosca framework.
What exactly? I didn't
So
get you.
so you might be supposingly if you are using any Excel or to traverse the data, right, from uh, for your testing point of view. So how do you query on your Excel data or any of the okay.
So I'm what I'm doing. Maybe you are getting it wrong. So suppose I downloaded 5 Excels.
Hmm.
I'm going to upload that 5 Excel into caching DB. That
Hmm.
is like the feature of the Tosca.
Hmm.
Five Excel will be the 5 different database for me,
Hmm.
caching DB. So suppose, but my final output will be the combination of this 5 Excel, right?
Hmm.
Suppose I'm storing the first Excel as my database A,
Hmm.
B, C, D,
Hmm.
respectively. So after that, I'm going to call so and so data from A column, like select start from suppose call a vendor from this and this, and after that, suppose joins are required, then I am going to use a left join, right join as per the requirement, and then from this particular things, whatever the required, I'm going to get the required data.
Yeah, so
So
for
that
that,
is.
so that only I
Hmm.
was asking, what query do you write to query on your any of the database to get the certain data? Supposingly for a table A, and I want some
Hmm.
data, so now I need to access it from your Tosca framework while executing a test case. So how do
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
write that command, or how do you write that query?
So okay, so suppose just take an example. You have having the Excel where there is a data of vendor and the material. So I'm going to suppose I want a vendor list. So I am going to write a select star from vendor. Select a vendor from. Suppose I'm storing that database in a, then select vendor from A. That type of thing. I'm going to write. So that is a very complex query which we have written as part of our project. But what exactly you are looking for? Like,
So I was looking out for the query that you write in your code, or how the actual code that you write value means the your Tosca is using some query language to write that.
SQL query,
Yes.
SQLite we generally
Okay.
use.
So that query I was asking for in the
So
means in
that is like select star statement where suppose if we I want to create any temporary table, so I write create a temp table with so and so name and joining
so
that. So
okay,
yeah.
okay, fine. Mm, okay, and so uh, when you have a certain test case wherein like you are traversing from multiple browser point of view, so how do you handle that?
uh, Multiple browsers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So in the Tosca, we have the configuration parameters, but as a flow wise, we can like configure like multiple browsers in the same test case. And when you are changing the browsers, so you have to like suppose Chrome and the Edge you have defined at the configuration parameters. First few step you are performing in the Chrome, then you are like calling that particular steps for the Chrome only. You are storing a browser name as a Chrome and calling out Chrome. Then suppose there are steps which is you want to execute Edge, then there should be a step in the flow where you are opening the Edge, and after that for opening the Edge, the configuration parameter will come which you defined in the configuration level as a Edge, and then the further step needs to get performed.
So this so you might be also requiring to synchronize some functionality point of view, wherein like you are synchronizing between the within the test case. So how do you synchronize that area in the Tosca framework?
Synchronization in the sense like between the two.
Yeah, means in the automated test cases, you might be you need to synchronize some functionality, or so in that case, how do you
So we have
synchronize?
the like if any web pages are not responding, is that the question? Or
Uh,
so synchronization in the sense like we generally what we have in the
hmm,
Tosca is like, when the systems are not behaving properly, then the synchronization, because of the synchronization it's fail. Like script is trying to identify some elements, but web page is not loaded yet. So
okay.
because of that,
So
the synchronization. Hmm.
okay, so that synchronization, how do you handle? So do you have any properties with
Uh,
respect to that, or
yes.
okay,
So we have the standard like configuration parameter where we can set a time limit for which how many time we have to wait. Like for the 90 seconds or 1 minute 30 seconds, we can wait. Then if at that time the pop up like the whatever the elements you want to get, if the pages responded within that time, then script will wait for that 90 seconds and it will navigate to the next move within that 90 seconds. If it is not responding, then in that case test case will fail. If the clients want the synchronization between what is the standard synchronization time should be there from the system under test and the application Tosca, then as per that we are going to configure the time limit, but standard wise we generally set for 90 microseconds or 1 minute as
okay.
an
Mhm.
depends on the system.
Okay, fine. That's it from my side actually. Um, so any questions do you want to ask, or we should get back to
So
the feedback?
actually,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just wanted to understand. I just received a call from one of the HR, I guess.
No, no,
So what?
that we can discuss it later. From the interview point of view, do you have any questions with respect to uh,
So yeah, okay. So I don't have the expertise in the Selenium and other API testings. So as a QA point of time, I got an opportunity to work on Tosca only. So if I want to learn anything in the API side or the Selenium side, so what will be the flow, like path I should follow to learn that particular tools?
okay. Uh,
That
okay. Any other question?
no.
Okay, fine. So we'll get back to the feedback first. Whatever we had, it means I could ask from the Tosca framework point of view. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Other cases is like from the manual testing point of view. So this will answer your question as well. So when you are saying that you need to do a testing, so the testing consists of overall all the things. So being a
Mm-hmm.
QA, it should not matter to you that what application or what framework you are working on. You should be more focused on the process that a QA should be following on. Okay, so in every, so company to company or project to project, or the thing, the applications, whether it's a SAP, web, or Selenium, so that comes under the part of different type of tools those are getting to you are using for testing your application. But the main focus should be how what is the role of a QA, what his basic roles are, and secondly what are you testing for. So then these things come up. So if you are well versed with your basic parts, then you can test any application that is given to you. Okay, so you should be sticking
Mm-hmm.
to basics first, that what are the roles and responsibilities of a QA to be done. Then you might be that roles might be one or two less or more to you, and uh, and responsibilities might be different as per your experience in the things, but the overall things remains the same, that you are a QA. So any expectation with your the work you are doing in will always be from a QA point of view. Now getting back to the SAP things from the Tosca framework point of view, you should be knowing, since Tosca is a very compact and a very easy to use tool. So there are very few areas wherein you can explore the things more. Once you know the Tosca framework, you are set to do the things whatever it is providing. So you don't have anything more than that or less than that. Okay, so within the Tosca framework you have the area defined. So in that case, whatever fits in, you are doing the things. Okay, now
Yes.
coming back to this, these are like limitations of a paid tool, and not able to use the free versions of it, wherein like you have multiple areas to be covered within from your logic point of view. So this is the limitation actually. Now secondly, since API is also a part of, means API testing is also required, try to explore that, because more often these questions will come to you in future.
So, what I was saying is that the application. So, from the API point of view, you need to be start exploring those things, because the things are really limited in this area. So, it will always be expected that since from 2 years you are working on this, so you should be exploring that area as well. Okay. Now, uh, working on the Selenium or any of the other tools, that will just give you an exposure to how that's a free area. Selenium with any of the languages, say be it C Sharp, Java, or Python, whatever language you opt for. So that's not a limitation. So you have a full dynamic area to explore, to use, to write your own scripts in the way you want, and the data reading aspect from it, because more often things are like you the companies opt for, there are very limited area for a paid tool to continue, but there is a vast area wherein like using the free versions like in Selenium, the Java Selenium combination or C Sharp Selenium combination, right? So in that area you might get more opportunities to switch from your existing other companies if required. Okay, so yeah, and you should be knowing more about the manual testing as well, and the you can actually write more often. The should start writing the test cases as well, and not being dependent on the test cases that you get. Okay, so that will increase your thinking ability regarding the application, and not just doing a horse job to go in a certain way and just do the complete the things in automation.
Mhm.
Will increase your exploration in that point of view. Yeah, that's it from my side.